I am so glad you convinced me that the family car should be the Defender 110. It is so beautiful inside. It's so comfortable, and it just feels indestructible.
Yes, it really is. I've been waiting a long time for the new model to come out. The Defender 110, I'm telling you, it's my favorite car of all times. It's my third one. You know, I have stories of going off-road. The guy managed the group. He was like, what are you doing in this beautiful car? I'm like, I'm going off-road. He's like, are you sure? Because you can use one of ours. And then they look like Mad Max cars. I'm like, no, we're going to do this. And he was shocked.
Wow. Well, it's great because the Defender has been reimagined for 21st century adventure, and its unparalleled off-road ability, as well as its robust interior, are invaluable whether you're headed towards uncharted territory or just a weekend of exploration. The Defender 110 tackles challenging surroundings with absolute confidence. The SUV conveys strength outside and in, featuring peerless technology like an intuitive driver display and an award-winning infotainment system. That's my favorite part, to keep you connected no matter where the journey takes you. Adventure is unique to everyone, and so is the Defender. Choose from the two-door Defender 90, the four-door Defender 110, or the larger Defender 130 with the ability to seat up to 8 passengers. You'll find uncompromising performance in all three. So pack up and go even further with the Defender 110. Learn more at LandRoverUSA.com/Defender.
Sometimes it takes a different approach to help you unlock your true potential. Capella University's game-changing FlexPath format helps you learn at your own pace and fit earning a degree into your life. From before you enroll to after you graduate, you'll be supported by people who are invested in your success so you can pursue your goals knowing that help is available if you need it. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
This isn't your average business podcast, and he's not your average host. This is the James Altucher Show. Today on the James Altucher Show.
I've told stories on stage about me and Madoff. I've told stories on stage about me and Bin Laden. I've told all sorts of crazy stories.
I didn't hear the Bin Laden story.
It's a true story.
Awesome.
And as you pointed out to me, sometimes these true stories are so remarkable, they're too unbelievable.
Yeah, they sound like bits.
Because like with this story, I was very disturbed by it.
Which story is this?
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you the story.
It.
It's about this interaction between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and another friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And not that those two were friends of mine,
right.
but I should say and a friend of mine rather than another friend of mine.
Right. This is clickbait right here. This is audio clickbait.
Put it this way: I will challenge people to turn this off and never turn this on again.
No one can.
So, Brian, I want to tell you this story.
Okay.
It's a story about Donald Trump, but it has nothing to do with politics. And it's a story about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. It has nothing to do with pedophilia.
I'm already hooked. I'm in. I'm all in.
But here's
but I love the setup alone is just okay. In a world.
In a world.
Yeah, exactly.
Donald
It's a trailer.
Trump and Jeffrey
I love
Epstein
the trailer.
are friends.
Yes.
And there's no politics and there's no pedophilia.
Yeah, okay.
And this is a true story in this world.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I don't want to be political. I don't want to come across as being pro this or anti this. Like, I'm really apolitical. And I find that even when I'm the slightest bit political anywhere, people assume I'm 100%, they polarize. I'm 100, and I know this, I'm saying almost a cliche. It's such a common thing now. But like, we were talking earlier, I wrote something yesterday about Andrew Yang, and I like Andrew Yang, but I raised one simple question and everybody freaked out because I wasn't ordering the entire menu. I was picking and choosing.
You're mistaking the internet for a sane, rational forum for discussion.
But yeah, you have to wonder, like, I used to think the stock market was a pulse on the world psychology. And then you figure, oh, well, maybe you can get closer to the world psychology by looking at Twitter. But I think that is psychosis rather than psychology.
Yeah, it is not. It is not. It is the unleashed id of the body politic.
Because like with this story, I was very disturbed by it, which I don't know why, actually. And then, but I also, again, the political side of Trump,
Which story is this? This is
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you the
Got
story.
it.
It's about this interaction between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and another friend of mine. And not that those two were friends of mine,
Right.
but I should say and a friend of mine rather than another friend of mine.
right. This is clickbait right here. This is audio clickbait.
Audio clickbait. You
I know,
have to
it's like
keep-
you drop
you
those
have to keep
names
listening.
into a blender, and everyone is now on the edge of their seats.
Put it this way, I will challenge people to turn this off and never turn this on
no one
again.
will. No one
and
can.
you and I will go on with our story about Trump and
No,
Epstein.
no.
But I do want to put this in a bigger context, which is that you could separate out personality from politics. B, you could still focus on improving yourself, and that's almost the best political stance rather than spending all day arguing about politics. But C, I just kind of want to tell you this story. And then maybe make it a little funny so I can tell the story on stage because it's a true story.
Awesome.
And as you've pointed out to me, sometimes these true stories are so remarkable they're too unbelievable.
Yeah, they sound like bits.
Yes.
Because so people go, oh, come on.
Right.
Is that no, Jeffrey Epstein, no.
I mean, because I mean, and I'll get to the story in a second. I mean, I've told stories on stage about me and Madoff. I've told stories on stage about me and Bin Laden. I've told all sorts of crazy
I
stories.
didn't hear the Bin Laden story, but all right, go ahead.
All right, let's start with this. So a friend of mine,
Starbucks with Bin Laden?
a friend of mine in was telling me this, and he said in 2009 he had heard that Jeffrey Epstein loved to put together these lunches of comedians. Actually,
Wow.
And
all right, now I'm really all in. Right? Get this, I can't wait to hear the names involved.
yeah, I'm debating.
Jeffrey Epstein and comedians.
Yeah, he loved putting together these lunches, and he would just So my friend said to one of his friends who was going to these lunches, let's call my friend Harry. That's not his name at all. I'll just say he's Harry.
Okay.
He's actually a well-known comedian and whatever. But
But you're not going to say his real
and then
you
no,
can't-
I didn't get his permission to say.
Okay.
So Harry says, "Hey, I want to get invited to one of these lunches and just see what they're like." This is, from a comedian's point of view, it's material. So Harry gets invited to one of these lunches. He gets there and he's telling me, Woody Allen's there, Sun Yi's there. He names a bunch of comedians that we both know.
Okay.
And Jeffrey Epstein's just sort of sitting.
These are older school comedians, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay.
mostly older school.
Okay.
Like they've been doing it, let's say 20 years or more.
Got it.
And Jeffrey Epstein's just sort of like not. So my friend Harry's telling me Jeffrey Epstein's sitting there, kind of leaning back, not really saying much,
Yeah.
just sort of laughing. Everyone's exchanging bits and redoing bits they've heard from other comedians, and just having a fun time.
As comedians are wont to do.
Right. And then everyone leaves, and it's just my friend Harry and Jeffrey Epstein. And note, this is after Jeffrey Epstein had already been in kind of quasi jail for pedophilia.
Okay.
And so I didn't ask my friend like why. I understood why he went to the lunch because it's material. It's interesting. It's material. It's not like he was making a moral judgment or not. But anyway, afterwards, it's just Harry and Jeffrey Epstein. And he says, by the way, have you ever been friends with this guy, Donald Trump? The one who does The Apprentice, because that's what Donald Trump was known for at the time, plus his real estate stuff. And Jeffrey Epstein was like, oh yeah, we were really good friends at one point, but then we had a falling out. And Harry says, well, what was the falling out about? And Jeffrey Epstein said, oh, it was over a morals issue.
Okay, right. The plot thickens. Right, wait. Jeffrey Epstein was upset with someone else's morals.
Well, at that point, because even the phrase morals issue coming out of Jeffrey Epstein's mouth is so confusing, I asked my friend Harry, I asked him, did he have the morals issue or did Donald Trump have the morals issue? It was unclear, even though chances are he wouldn't have said that to Harry if he didn't have the morals. It's not like Donald Trump had a morals issue with me and he's saying that to Harry.
So even Jeffrey Epstein was offended by Donald Trump's morality.
Right. There was
wow, that's hard to do.
Right.
That is a high bar to get over.
So suddenly, you never know when you're talking to someone and you're like, you almost want to choke them. You want to get the answer out.
Yeah.
Like, so I said to Harry, well, what did you had to have asked him what the issue was.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, of course. Like, where does Jeffrey Epstein draw the line so that this is his morals issue?
Right.
So I asked him, and Jeffrey Epstein said, well, one time many years ago, I don't know what year it was, one time many years ago, this is Jeffrey Epstein talking. Donald Trump calls me and says, and I won't use abusive language, but Donald Trump calls me and says, Jeffrey, do you like to have sex with your best friend's wives? And Jeffrey Epstein said to Donald Trump, "Of course not."
Right.
So
that's disgusting. It's despicable. Right. I'm offended. I got to get off this phone. I gotta go to my island where I've got a threesome with 8-year-olds.
Right, like this is a guy with an island.
Right. Yeah.
For sex trafficking.
Yeah, it was sex trafficking.
And this is where he drew the line.
There, finally. We found Jeffrey Epstein's bottom line where he won't go, right? Really? That's adorable.
So far we've learned 2 things here about Jeffrey Epstein. One is that for some reason he enjoys the company of comedians. So,
right.
And the second thing is that he does have a line.
Yeah, thank God.
That he drew.
We all do.
Right.
Thank God Jeffrey Epstein has a limit. There's a limit to the amorality of what Jeffrey Epstein is willing to countenance or whatever it is. Is that the word? Is that the word? Counts. What's the word? I'm like, never mind. Anyway,
one of those words.
Yeah, one of those
words. A word
words.
related to that word. And then, so Jeffrey Epstein says, of course not. What are you talking about? And Donald Trump says to Jeffrey Epstein, almost like they're good friends or something. Like Donald Trump says to Jeffrey Epstein, I just can't seem to get an erection unless I'm having sex with one of my best friends or close friends' wives.
Wow.
And so he goes on to tell the story. He says, well, many of the wives agree to have sex, but some of them don't. So here's what I do, and this is Donald Trump saying, here's what I do. I'll bring in the friend into my office. I'll secretly have the wife on speakerphone, but on mute, so nobody can, she's listening, but no one knows she's listening. And then I'll start talking to the friend about mistresses and hookers and all these things.
Right.
And so that the wife could see what kind of man her husband is.
Right.
And then maybe she would agree.
Right. This doesn't sound like the Donald Trump I know. This doesn't sound like something that Donald Trump would stoop to.
And
seriously, guys, and do I have a vote on this? Anybody think? It's just, I don't see Donald Trump doing something that loathsome, despicable, amoral, and unforgivable. I just don't see it. I'm sorry, James. I'm just not buying it.
Right. It's so unbelievable.
That's where I draw the line. That story.
Right, on truth. You're a truther.
Yeah. No, that certainly makes a lot of sense.
Well, here's the thing too. So the wife is on speakerphone. He says often afterwards, this is what he's saying to Jeffrey Epstein. Often afterwards, the wives will then agree to have sex with him. This is
right.
Who knows if this is true or not? I kind of believe, but I do believe he's saying this, but I don't know if what he's saying is true. But because it doesn't sound like the most romantic technique to woo a woman to expose her loved one as, I
don't remember this in the game. Right, I don't remember this is one of the techniques of seduction in was it Robert Greene's book or whatever.
Close, but Neil Strauss.
Neil Strauss wrote the game, but Robert Greene wrote Seduction. Anybody?
You're right.
Yeah, there you go. So I was right.
Yeah.
So Neil Strauss wrote the game. I don't remember. Bring her into the room and try to get the husband to that doesn't sound like
is that making her excited at that moment? I gotta get together with Donald. And it's
that is such an amazingly. Is that first of all anybody that gets then sleep with me, right? What I mean, there's so many labyrinthine levels to that story that a woman brought in like, he did that. Well then, whoa. I do declare, Donald, a man who had such a heinous plot of despicableness and dishonesty. Oh, I'm just getting flustered just watching you work. It's like, what, really? That gets a woman aroused? What have I been doing wrong
Maybe
all
it's
these
like
years?
A revenge.
No more flowers for me. Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to talk her into a revenge thing, or maybe he's establishing status over the friend.
What kind of Caligula shit is this?
Yeah. And the other, I don't know, the whole, there's so many different layers too, because he has this fetish of kind of double betrayal, right? So the man has betrayed his friends have betrayed the wife.
But I'm going to betray him in front of you, and that's going to make you hot for me. I don't see A equals B mathematical logic there.
Right. He almost has this triple fetish in order to get an erection.
Right.
He has to convince the wife to betray the husband, or the husband to admit betraying the wife, and then he betrays the friend
all
in front
of them.
of the
He
right.
betray everyone's involved,
And that's how he gets the most.
And that's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the woman just can't resist that. Oh, I'm getting flustered just thinking about the betrayal and the lies and deceit and the webs of dishonesty. Oh my God, I may just lose it right here. That is just nuts.
Oh my gosh, I love these clothes. Mizzen and Main. That's Mizzen and Main. It really is the most comfortable work clothes. Travel clothes. I had to travel this whole week. I'm traveling for a week and a half, and I just took Mizzen and Main clothes with me. Close out 2023 in style with comfortable, breathable, packable, and machine washable pieces from Mizzen and Main. As you wrap up your year-end goals, enjoy a Mizzen and Main dress shirt that you can wear confidently. I like that they've very, very just nice, solid colors. I don't really like to get all fancy in patterns and everything, although they do have some pattern shirts, but very comfortable clothes, stretchable pants. It's just super comfortable, but they look professional, and you can wear them casually or professionally. I like some of their flannel shirts or untuck shirts. I love untuck. I never tuck in. So again, whether you're shopping for a special someone or giving yourself the gift you really want, I just buy myself gifts. Mizzen and Main is the perfect gift for any guy who works, travels, and or cares about looking and feeling great. As you could tell by my many photos across the internet, I care about looking fantastic. I'm practically a model. And let's be honest, every guy loves to look great. So again, shop now at mizzenandmain.com and save 20% when you spend $130 or more using promo code James. That's promo code James at Mizzen and Main, Mizzen and Main.com.
These days, we're all investors, trying to be smart with our money despite our worst impulses. But at iShares, we believe that deep down inside of every investor is a better investor. One that's just waiting to be let out. Explore iShares ETFs and insights and let your best investor out. Visit iShares.com for more information.
You know what I love about fantasy sports is that even though I'm not going to be a great basketball player or a baseball player or a football player or whatever, I feel like I get to participate and make decisions and use my knowledge of these different leagues or these different sports to compete. So it's like I can pick my team or I can pick my favorite players, and I could use my knowledge to make predictions and maybe even make money. So with the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League on Prize Picks. This is a league created specifically for combo projections that include two or more players from different sports or leagues. Want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, who's also been a guest on this podcast, and I've been a guest on his? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries for some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Look, Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. What? So, I love playing it. I love anywhere where I can use analytical ability with my interests to demonstrate some skill and maybe make some money. And I like the game-like aspect. I do wish they had chess as a category on prizepicks.com, but I'll settle for what they've got. Maybe I should make my own fantasy chess league. But in any case, I love Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/James. Use code James for a first deposit match up to $100. That's the easiest $100 you're ever going to make. So that's prizepicks.com/James and use code James. Daily fantasy sports made easy.
And then there's the aspect that, this is the only way he could get.
Yeah. That's
And then Jeffrey Epstein's claim that he had this problem.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that Trump got disgusted with Epstein because Epstein's convicted of, why did Trump stop hanging out with Epstein? It could also be because Epstein was a convicted pedophile, or it could be because
that wasn't
he was
what did
linked to Epstein.
Right.
He didn't want to be linked
This
further.
is like the worst O. Henry story ever. This is like the most horrific M. Night Shyamalan, multiple negative, bad twist ending stories.
But okay, if this was an M. Night Shyamalan, I don't know how to say his last name. What would, like, in a Sixth Sense, like, I see dead people. Like, what would be the twist at the end here?
That the woman goes to sleep with Trump, and then it was a test that Trump was doing because Trump is a real immoral guy. So he brings the husband in because to test her immorality, and then it's a quadruple twist with a triple Lindy at the end, like where he says, "Donald, sleep with me right now," and he goes, "I knew you would do that. Come in, Bill." And then and then it's a trick on her. I don't even know. I'm just saying.
Maybe the end is, and in that way, I've saved dozens of marriages.
There you go.
Because
that he's actually trying to save the marriage.
He revealed the truth on both sides, and he turned out to be this amazing, like, the marriage ref, kind of guy.
Yeah, the marriage ref. Yeah,
the Seinfeld show.
It's a
that
game
lasted
show.
one season.
It's just a game show. That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist. It's a latest pitch meeting for the once he leaves office, he's going to have a new show on NBC.
So a couple of things. One is I've never heard this story before, but I
wish I never had. Actually, I really would have been
I wish
happy.
I had never had.
Yeah.
So I heard this story from, again, probably a mutual friend of both of ours. And
you know what's funny about this story? Can I just say one thing? That
I mean, among the other things funny about it.
What's that?
Among the other things. Funny about it.
But there's something weird about the fact that people who hear the story. Whenever Donald Trump says something, everyone agrees that Donald Trump's a liar and all this stuff. That like he lies, but when it's a story like this that makes him look bad, people on my side go, "Oh, what an awful, terrible thing that is that Donald Trump did that." And Donald Trump's telling the story, or Donald Trump does something terrible. People will believe, "Oh, he actually did that." When he's bragging about something that he did that's despicable, people have no problem going, "He said that he did this terrible thing," and you go, "Yeah, but he lies all the time." You said, "What if that's just another lie that he never actually did this?" I mean, this
right?
Is just,
that's a good point.
Yeah, because they only believe when they hear Donald Trump did this terrible thing or said this thing, or Donald Trump will say, like he said, I grab him. He brags about sexual assaulting women.
Yeah.
Right. And my point was always, well, if he's a liar, how do we know that he's not lying about that? Right. Because everyone said he admitted that he did this. But Donald Trump's such a liar all the time. You can't just separate out and go, well, he's telling the truth there because that fits my narrative of Donald Trump, you know?
Well, it's interesting because...
and not that I don't believe that he did those things. I'm simply saying that if the guy's a liar, then you go, well, he said that he did that. They go, I know Donald Trump says he did a lot of things, and 90% of them aren't true. The guy is a P.T. Barnum salesman and always has been.
But sometimes you could tell what's a lie and what's a fiction. So, for instance, if he says, well, I was the best student in business school, you could kind of argue, well, maybe that's an exaggeration.
Yes.
That's somehow
Yes.
a lie.
Yes.
And this story here, if every part of it in a weird way sounds true. Like, it would have to
Epstein is telling this story.
Right. Epstein's telling the story.
It's not Trump's telling the story. So in this case, we have to. And Epstein is not one to weave falsehoods either. The guy has an epic moral high ground that
right. So
Jeffrey Epstein telling a lie or being dishonest or doing something immoral, I've never heard of something.
But even here, like with Epstein, the reason I assume his conversation is true is because he's trying to explain why there was a fallout.
Right.
So there could be, the real reason could be that Trump just stopped talking to him when he got, accused of pedophilia. But he's trying to give another reason, and he's probably, this is so elaborate that probably it's not a fiction. It is a good reason. Yeah. There's always a good reason and a real reason. Yes. So this sounds like a good reason, whether or not it's the reason for the fallout. It does sound like a real conversation.
It seems like an off the cuff story, so there's no really reason. There's no real upside for him to lie about this,
right? And Trump, let's say if the phone call was real, Trump was probably not making that. There's no reason for him to have made that up just for Epstein.
Yeah.
Like this weird story.
But you could
of
actually
fetish.
argue that the Trump story where he's talking to what's his name, Billy Bush or whatever, where he's saying, I go up to him, I grab him by the pussy, I just do that, and everyone was like, he is an admitted sexual, offender, and I said, well, yeah, but he what's his motive to lie there? To impress a guy.
Yeah, to
right?
impress a guy. So there was a status thing there.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
over Billy Bush, who was probably
Yeah.
going out with lots of girls. Trump was trying to say, "Hey, I'm one of the guys
I'm
too."
not saying Trump did that. Trump probably does that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, but my point is, with that guy, he's so bombastically spewing out like falsehoods and weaving tall tales like the Rainmaker, and just doing all these things that you can't just pick and choose what you want to believe that he's a liar about if it fits your narrative.
Right. So for me, I don't know why I feel that particular sub story
Yes.
is
revealing in some way?
Yeah, it's specific enough and weird enough. It's probably real because
Yeah.
it's too much fiction if it's a
The
lie.
only part of it I don't buy is the women just throwing their clothes off and immediately wanting to sleep with him. Over
Right.
it.
Or I don't buy
That
it.
sounds like the M. Night Shyamalan twist where you go, no, that's where you lost me.
Right. Like I don't buy that after the conversation they suddenly jump in bed with him.
Yes, I think that I believe everything else makes sense, which tells you how down the rabbit hole we are. Everything else about that story, that's something Donald Trump would do. But the end game, I think he doesn't even have to sleep with him at that point. For me, get the type of guy he is, the triumph over the other guy is the orgasm, right? Like he doesn't even have to sleep with the woman. Just ruining the relationship for him is like the hottest thing ever, right?
Yeah, so that could be. So from that point on could be the Billy Bush moment where he
Yeah.
says to Epstein, like, yeah,
I mean, I
and
don't know.
then
Maybe I'm
everything
wrong,
happened.
but it just feels like that's the part where you go, and then they immediately slept with me. That's the part where everything else I believe. That moment, I just go, really? That's you? Oh, wow. That makes a woman hot? I never knew that, right?
So I think I thought the story was fascinating because I had never heard it before.
Yeah.
And here's two people that have been judged and analyzed and picked over,
Right.
For years and years and every possible report. So I've never heard that story.
Yeah.
I've even told that story to someone who was writing a book on Epstein, and he like really wanted to include it in his book because he had never heard it.
Right.
But
Did he?
I don't know. I don't know if
Okay.
he is or not.
You couldn't get information on that?
He's still writing the book.
Okay.
And the other thing that disturbed me is this what people are like? Because Trump's friends and their wives and I never heard of this kind of fetish. Like,
Yeah.
is the average, corporate mogul just like blatantly like cheating left and right? I hope and nobody, like their wives don't know.
So this is
there's
like
all
one of
these
the worst.
secrets.
It's like one of those.
This is my nightmare scenario in my own
In
relationships.
your own relationship, this is what you're worried about?
Yes.
I've reached this level of success, and then all morality and everything turns into an eyes wide shut party of decadence and depravity.
Well, because how could people not know that what their husbands are up to or what their wives are up
Right.
to, or that if some billionaire comes over and suddenly wants to
Okay.
have sex with whoever?
Yes, and so they show film footage or get audio tape of you saying something. They goad you into it. Like first of all, doesn't anyone know that some guy sitting in there go, hey, you'd sleep with another woman, wouldn't you? When you sleep with you'd sleep with another woman, and go, nah, I probably wouldn't. You'd sleep. All right, maybe I would. Ding, 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 ding. And the woman comes running in. Does that really? My question is about Donald Trump in that moment. Does he say that or does Jeffrey Epstein say that he sleeps with them right there on the couch? Or is this like part of a long-term strategy of seduction that he uses as a tool to show that he's a good guy, and that he's some kind of weird crusader of Suicide Squad crusader for morality, that he's trying to expose cheating husbands, but then he jumps on the wife. The story just, I don't know. There's just too many too many tendrils. It's like Chinatown.
So, and I guess then my main point is much better to just live a very simple life.
Yeah, there you go.
Where you just subtract as much as possible. You hang out with simple people, good friends,
Henry David Thoreau.
good relationships.
Yes, you're just Walden Pond. You're suddenly Walden Pond. You're just
and it's almost like
weird references. I don't know
no,
why.
but I like that because it's almost like Giuliani's broken window theory in the 90s, which is that
Yeah.
if you have and it's odd now relating this to Trump's lawyer from his term as mayor.
Yeah.
So now we're going to mention Giuliani, but not in the context of Trump at all.
Right, not in the country
So-
at all. Yeah.
So
That's
Giuliani in the
funny.
90s had this broken window theory, which
Yeah.
is that if there's a car with a broken window on the street, then an hour later, all the car windows on the street will be
Yeah, yeah.
broken. And so
Everything metastasizes into, if there's a broken window in a building and you don't do anything about it, that it's going. So you have to punish petty crimes and little crimes and fix unseemly things. Otherwise, everything goes to shit.
Yeah. And so maybe this story reminds me of that. Just in life, you kind of have to apply that to life. Like if you it's the whole saying, like if you start a relationship with someone who is starting it because either you're cheating on your partner or they're cheating on their partner, it's probably not a good way. Because you're always going to worry they're going to do it again, or you're going to do it. They're going to be worried you're doing it again.
Yes.
So it's almost like you have to keep things. I guess there's a life lesson in this, which I always want to get to.
It's a beautiful life lesson. Lessons from Jeffrey Epstein. The fables from Jeffrey Epstein. This is like the Brothers Grimm fairy tales, but with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God!
Version.
Fables of Jeffrey Epstein is a like nighttime story
for kids.
Jeffrey. Yeah, nighttime story. You've got to write that book and get an illustrator.
Fables from Jeffrey Epstein.
But I think that
life lessons.
I think that is the moral of the story, which is that. A lot of times I guess people get involved with Trump because they're hoping for a big business deal or a big payout, but you can't even risk one broken window on the street.
No. That's a beautiful way to look at it.
Yes. And then I will say too, this is not political. Some people could say, whether or not you think Trump is the best president in the world or the worst thing that's ever happened, it has nothing to do with that, because we've seen suspect morals from many presidents, ranging from Clinton to Reagan to
supposedly FDR,
Nixon to FDR died in his mistress's arms in Georgia. To Warren Harding and I don't know, going all the way back.
I was a
Thomas
huge
Jefferson.
Warren Harding fan. And for all you Warren Harding fans out there, we don't want to disillusion you or get you upset. Please hold your emails and letters. We know there are big Warren G. Harding fanatics out there, the Hardingers.
Yeah,
they're a really tough crowd.
I really don't want to offend.
What about Rutherford B. Hayes? Oh, there's a lot of big people out there that hate Rutherford B. Hayes and love Rutherford B.
Let me just say, Rutherford B. Hayes won in the controversial election of 1876.
Wow.
The House of Representatives had to elect him because the Electoral College did not proclaim a winner.
Wow.
And
I did not know that.
I will leave this story for a further episode, possibly. But the most honest, nationally elected politician, I think, in U.S. history is a young man from New York named William Wheeler, who was Rutherford B. Hayes' vice president.
Wow.
I did
not know that either.
No, nobody knows it. I am just
James Altucher dropping knowledge here on the podcast.
I would encourage everybody, just become a Wikipedia slut and look up William Wheeler. And
the fact that you knew the date, that's 1870, you said? Like, that's amazing.
1876. It was Rutherford B. Hayes versus Samuel J. Tilden, who I believe was governor of New York. And
of course it was Samuel J. Tilden.
And I think Tilden might have won the popular vote, just like Gore in 2000.
Wow.
And then in the House of Representatives, Rutherford B. Hayes made enough promises that he won the election. But William Wheeler was such an honest guy that when Rutherford B. Hayes was informed, this is who your vice president's going to be, he was like, who's William Wheeler?
Right.
Like, he just didn't know
who
this guy was. It's the most honest politician in history.
Wow. And he would never try to seduce someone's wife.
Never. Not my William Wheeler. Not my boy Billy Wheeler.
No. So we have Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump on this side, and William Wheeler.
And again, what I would take from this is not anything political about Trump, but don't have broken windows in your life.
In your relationship. There you go, kids. Words to grow by.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power, so how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/advance. That's oracle.com/advance. Oracle.com/advance.